Throughout the gaming industry, we have had a multitude of different platform mascots, whether it be Mario, Master Chief, or Kratos himself. The hero of our favorite franchises are one of the reasons why we enjoy the games we enjoy. However, one in particular, for me personally, is above the rest. What's going on, followers? This is TKD123, aka Kevin Diaz, and this is how Nathan Drake shaped my personality. Looking back on my gaming history over the years, what instantly comes to mind is the summertime. Summer allowed me to spend nearly every waking moment and moment I should have been sleeping playing that year's Call of Duty. It was a time where I almost exclusively played Call of Duty and didn't think to play any other game. Aside from not having an income, I only wanted to play Call of Duty until summer 2012 came and the Call of Duty it brought with it, Modern Warfare 3. While garnering an 88% on Metacritic, was received pretty well at first, although going into the summer months, the game had died down for some of the hardcore COD players, including myself. I didn't want to admit it to my obsessed COD mind that I wanted to play something else, something new. While those nights were consisted of me playing plenty of Call of Duty, it was also mixed in with listening to a variety of podcasts. I would play match after match while burning through hours, sometimes even 4-hour long podcasts like clockwork. My favorite podcast at the time, Podcast Beyond, featured then head figure Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, and the ever-revolving third chair talking about all things PlayStation. And it was on that very show that at one episode they recorded, they began to discuss the Uncharted series, with Uncharted 3 releasing mere months ago. And at that point, I had heard of Uncharted and seen it being promoted as I glided through the PS Store to download the latest COD map pack, but never considered buying the game. As the weeks went on and the Uncharted name kept being hammered into my mind, the notion of Mass Effect also came up in discussion. Other than the debacle that was the ending of Mass Effect 3, both of these massive trilogies piqued my interest and I eventually gave in. I decided one night that the next morning I would venture to GameStop and buy one of the trilogies in its full entirety. Great, decision made, but we had one more choice. Was I going to choose Uncharted or Mass Effect? The debate went on in my mind all through the night until I stepped foot into GameStop that morning. After not having Mass Effect 2 in stock that day, I decided to buy the Uncharted series in the hopes that I would not be left with only Mass Effect 1 and 3, and boy am I glad they didn't have Mass Effect 2 in stock that day. I spent the next week binging the masterpiece that is the Uncharted series. While the series has had every level of praise thrown its way, from its storytelling, set pieces, and suspense, one aspect of the three games really grabbed me in a way no other game had before. It was Nathan Drake, the young, witty, and charismatic treasure hunter at the center of nearly every Uncharted game up to date. Whether it be his first introduction to the series with Uncharted Drake's Fortune, where he seeks to find and uncover the lost city of El Dorado, or my personal favorite Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, where Nate and company search for the Chinchimani Stone, playing through the series in such a short amount of time allowed me to experience the incredible events with not a stereotypical soldier, but from the perspective of a unique and entertaining character. However, with all things said, where Nathan Drake really grabbed me as a character was in Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. After surviving the unthinkable set piece of literally falling out of a plane and wandering through a desert for an ungodly amount of time, driving him to hallucinations and still ending up the victor. Nathan Drake inspired me and continued to do so for many years to come. Of course, the closest thing I can actually come to talking to Nathan Drake would be voice actor and motion cap artist Nolan North. Other than that, he doesn't physically exist and neither does the plot or the set pieces he encountered. But the way Naughty Dog wrote his lines and sculpted his personality is unmatched in my eyes to anyone else in fictional character history. While video game narrative, Nathan was put up against thousands of enemies, numerous of complex and fatal puzzles, and countless of poorly maintained ledges that could have easily killed anyone in real life. Any of these obstacles in the real world would be seen as staged and planned and easily would have been written off as an impossible feat. However, what makes Nathan special is the reaction he had towards all of them, not just conquering them. He always met every single risky next step toward his goal with a witty remark rather than a plea for another route. He never lost hope in the gun battle after running out of ammo, he just resorted to the old-fashioned fisticuffs. He never thought about turning back or giving in to the opposition, he kept laser focused on the goal at hand. Nathan Drake was written by Naughty Dog to be a modern-day Indiana Jones or Han Solo, a man that when met with the most insane odds possible will always pull himself by his bootstraps and get to work. It was a message full of power and was a message I'm grateful to have been exposed to during that summer of 2012. At a time when I was about to venture into the uncharted, no pun intended, territory that was high school, my anxiousness and fear of high school grew every day that neared closer to the first day of school. High school was analogous to Nate's next obstacle in a given chapter. I wasn't sure if I would be successful, make friends, or even manage to not get a C in the class. However, However, playing through the Uncharted series and being exposed to a fleshed out character like Nathan Drake instilled the same properties that made up Nathan Drake. When I put down my DualShock 3 and picked up issues involving school, friends, family, or personal issues, I began to approach them the same way Nathan approached his issues. I stopped looking for another way and faced them head on. When my efforts had exhausted themselves, I tried another angle and a way of dealing with it until I eventually dealt with it. I stopped giving up when the going got tough and gained perseverance for the things I wanted to attain. I became a better version of me in high school, a version of me that got fed up with being overweight and dropped 60 pounds in 6 months, a version of me that got tired of a C average and made an A the goal, a version of me that grew up and still deals with a speech impediment and decided to host the announcements from time to time to a student body of nearly 2,000 people. What it all boils down to is that Nathan Drake inspired me to have confidence in any area of my life that may seem daunting or challenging. I could overcome the seemingly impossible just as he did in the Uncharted series. The Uncharted game didn't just expose me to games other than Call of Duty or games that could tell stories unmatched in the industry or one of the greatest theme songs to any IP in history. The Uncharted series exposed me to be inspired by the personality of Nathan Drake. Nathan's humorous one-liners, half-glass full view of horrible dilemmas, and his relentless perseverance seeped into my own and are qualities I still carry to this day. While I can't bestow all of the cause to me having these qualities on Nathan, he sure does have a lot to do with it. These qualities enabled me to be a cornerstone in my first job at a restaurant, receive a paid education at a community college, and also, perhaps if I didn't have these qualities, I wouldn't be talking to you in this very video. While many things in my life have sculpted me for the better, Nathan Drake has helped shape some of the greatest attributes I utilize every day. And that wraps the video. Thank you guys for watching. And of course, this video was obviously opinionated. It was obviously not a really, factual based video. But of course, I want to dive into some of those things. I want to go to a little more things that are revolving around the more historical side of PlayStation and everything like that, and more telling of the future, stuff like that. So definitely want to dive into a bunch of topics that I will be diving into over the coming weeks on this channel and my content going forward. So definitely do expect those on a weekly basis. And thank you all for tuning in to PlaystationFollower. And as always, keep on following.